subscribe and share.
This is a story about the misery merchant. Once there was a rich merchant. He was so miserly that no one liked him. He never paid his taxes and he saved every paisa he had. One day he had to take his goods to another town to sell. But to reach the town, he had to undertake a risky journey through a forest. The forest was known for robbers and animals. I think I will need to hire a helper, he thought. He decided he would pay only 10 rupees to the helper, and he went to the market looking for one. The first man he asked refused. I can't take such a big risk for just 10 rupees, he said. The next person he asked demanded 100 rupees. It's not an easy job. You should pay accordingly, said he. The merchant went from one man to the next, but no one was willing to come for 10 rupees. The merchant was disgusted. The town is full of money-minded people. No one wants to do an honest day's work. While the merchant pondered what to do, a man came to him. I can take you, he offered. It was Kalu, the town simpleton. I don't mind working for 10 rupees, he said. The merchant thought, this man is a fool. How can I hire him? But he had no choice. It was either the simpleton or 100 rupee expense. All right, he reluctantly agreed. Kalu demanded his 10 rupees in advance, and the miser gave it to him. The two set off through the forest in a cart with the goods. They hadn't gone very far when they heard footsteps. It must be robbers, said Kalu. They both hurriedly got off and pulled the cart behind some trees. Kalu hid behind one bush and the merchant behind another. They waited silently as the robbers came closer. Suddenly, one of the robbers tripped over Kalu's leg. Dusting himself off, he said, must have been a tree root. The fool that he was, Kalu got angry and said, does my leg look like a root to you? The robbers immediately dragged him out of the bush. Hand over all your money, they said. Kalu handed over his 10 rupees. It's all I have, he said. You can take it if you like. The merchant trembled in his hiding place. The robbers looked at the note. This looks like a fake note to me, said one of the robbers. Kalu said, of course not, it's genuine. How do we believe you? Asked the robbers. Okay, ask my master, said foolish Kalu. The merchant silently cursed the simpleton. The robbers hunted around for the merchant. They soon found him behind the bush and dragged him out. They took all his money and his cart. "This is all because I hired a fool," he cried. The merchant returned home sadly. "I should have hired a better man instead of being miserly. Now, instead of losing just 100 rupees, I have lost all my goods." The miserly merchant had learned his lesson. The next story is The Turtle That Fell Off the Stick. There lived a turtle called Kalu in a lake, who had two swans as his good friends. All three of them would meet on the banks of the lake every day and exchange stories before returning at sunset. They enjoyed each other's company. One year there was no rain and the lake started to dry. The swans got worried about the declining water level of the lake and said to the turtle, "You will not be able to survive in this lake. All the water in the lake will soon dry up." The turtle said, "It is difficult to live here anymore. Dear friends, please look for another lake which is full of water. Then find a strong stick from somewhere." The turtle continued, "Once you find another lake, you can carry me to the lake with the stick. I can hold the stick tightly with my mouth, while both of you can hold the stick at either ends and fly." As planned, the swans flew to distant places and after some time found a lake which had plenty of water in it. They returned to carry the turtle. They prepared to hold the stick from both the ends and told the turtle, "Dear friend, everything seems fine, but make sure to keep your mouth tightly shut all the time. You must not speak or you will fall off." Finally, they started flying. They had flown some distance when the turtle saw a town below. The people of the town were staring at the sight of two swans carrying a turtle in the sky. "Look at that! This is a rare sight, that two birds are carrying a turtle with the help of a stick," they shouted in surprise. On hearing the people, the turtle opened his mouth. "What is all the noise about?" he asked. As soon as he spoke, he fell off, and the swans could do nothing to stop him from falling down on too. The people of the town got hold of the turtle and took him to their home to make a meal out of him. The next story is about a wise parrot. Once upon a time, there lived two parrots in a forest. The elder one was very handsome and wise. His beak and wings were very beautiful and colorful. His younger brother also lived with him, and he too was quite pretty, but he was not so wise. Both were living happily in the forest. One day, a hunter came to the forest. He saw the pair of parrots and thought, "These parrots are very beautiful and special. I will present them to the king." He spread his net in the jungle to catch them. Soon both the parrots were trapped. He kept them in a cage and went to the palace. He said to the king, "O king, see this beautiful pair of parrots. I caught them in the deep forest. Seeing their beauty, I decided to bring them to you. They will add to the beauty of your palace." The king was very happy. He gave 1,000 coins to the hunter. He kept both the parrots in a golden cage and ordered his servants to look after them well. The parrots were looked after very well. They were served fruits and delicious food. They became the center of attraction. Even the young prince came to play with them. The parrots were very happy. They got everything without any labor. The older parrot once said to his brother, "We are highly respected in the palace and hence quite satisfied." The younger brother replied, "You are right. We are getting royal treatment. It is our luck." One day, the hunter brought a black monkey named Bholu. The monkey was presented to the king, who asked the attendants to keep the monkey in the courtyard. The king, as well as the prince, were very happy to see the monkey and his amusing activities. With the arrival of the monkey, the parrots were neglected. They sometimes didn't even get food. The older parrot was wise. He comforted his brother. "Nothing is permanent in this world. Have patience. The bad days will soon end." One day the monkey performed such feats before the prince that he got scared and cried, "Help! Help!" Hearing his cries, all rushed there and took the prince away. When the king came to know about it, he ordered his men to go and leave the monkey in the forest. The next day, the monkey was sent to the forest. The bad days of the parrots were now over. They were treated well again. The words of the wise parrot came true and they were happy again. The next story is The Sly Servant. Once upon a time, there lived a rich merchant who had a very cunning servant. One day, the merchant decided to visit his mother. "Pack some food for me and a basket of fruits for my mother," he entrusted his servant. "I have eyes at the back of my head, so don't you dare eat any of the fruits." The sly servant was walking quietly behind the merchant. When he got hungry, he quietly took the fruits out one by one, showed them to the back of his master's head, and ate them all. Soon, when the merchant was hungry and wanted to eat, he discovered that the fruits were gone. "You scoundrel, you ate all the fruits!" he shouted. "But master, I took permission from you. I showed each fruit to the back of your head before eating. You never objected, replied the wily servant, pretending to be very simple. Fuming, the merchant sat down to lunch. He cooked fish over a fire and started to eat. He gave one rotten fish to his servant. Master, don't fish swim in a group? He asked. Yes, the merchant replied. The servant then placed his rotten fish on his master's plate. You fool! Look what you did! Now how will I eat this? Yelled his master. He left his plate, and so the servant ate all the fish. Soon the merchant grew too tired and hungry to walk any more. Bring me food from my mother's house, he ordered. The servant fetched food from there. While returning, he mixed some banana plant ashes in the food. This was used as a substitute for salt in many places. The food was now too salty to eat. When the merchant took the first mouthful, he instantly knew it was his servant's work, but he ate it quietly, as he was too hungry for words. I will take my revenge on you, he thought. He wondered how to teach him a lesson. Soon the merchant hit upon an idea. I will send him to my brother for a sound thrashing. And so he wrote a note to his brother asking him to beat the servant black and blue. Take this to my brother at once, he instructed. The servant grew suspicious. On the way, he stopped a teacher and asked him to read out the note. It instructs the receiver to give a beating to the bearer of the note, said the teacher. The servant asked the teacher to write another note instead. He told the brother, Sir, my master wishes to make me your son-in-law at once, and he showed him the note. The puzzled brother read the note and accepted it. He arranged the servant's marriage to his daughter the same day. The next day the merchant reached there. Didn't you get my note? He demanded. Yes, I did, and I obeyed, replied his brother. Then why is not he beaten up? The merchant asked. But you asked me to get him married to my daughter and showed him the note. Outwitted again, thought the helpless merchant. The servant lived a comfortable life after that, while the merchant could never trust anyone again. The next story is The Clever Wife. Long ago, there lived a lazy man. He never wanted to work and was always looking for an easy way to get food. One day, as he was passing by a temple, he saw a mango tree full of juicy mangoes. He climbed up on the wall of the temple to steal the mangoes. The temple also had a pond full of fish. As soon as the lazy man noticed the fish, he jumped into the compound. Being lazy, he didn't even bother to bend. He used his hands to pluck the mangoes and his feet to catch the fish. Stuffing both in his bag, he ran home. "Here, I have brought some good food today," he said to his wife, taking out a fish and some mangoes from his bag. At first, his wife was very excited to see such delicious food, as they had not eaten mangoes and fish for a long time. But then she thought, he never goes to work. How did he manage to bring home the mangoes and the fish? She took the bag from her husband and asked, "Where did you get these from, dear?" The husband said with pride, "I stole them from the temple compound." The wife was shocked to hear this. "Earlier my husband was lazy. Now he has become a thief too. How shameful," she thought. So the clever wife decided to teach her lazy husband a lesson. She pretended to be happy and said, "Good that you stole from the temple compound. There are plenty of mangoes and fish there. I will prepare a delicious feast today. Go and take a bath in the meantime." With happy thoughts of the feast, the man went to take a bath while his wife went into the kitchen to cook the fish. As she prepared the meal, its mouth-watering aroma spread in the entire house. "I can't resist the temptation," thought the lazy man, finishing his bath quickly. His mouth began to water. "Come quickly, come, dear," called out his wife. "The food is almost ready." Just as she heard her husband's footsteps, she quickly untied her hair, colored her eyes black, picked up the fan of fish in her hand and stood up. She looked at her husband with a fierce expression. As soon as her husband entered the kitchen, he saw a horrid-looking figure staring at him. "How dare you steal from my temple?" yelled the wife. "What? Your temple?" asked the man, scared. "Yes, I am the goddess of the temple," replied the wife angrily. "I saw you stealing from my mango tree and my pond. Now I have taken possession of your wife's body, and I am going to kill you." Hearing this, the man fell to his knees and begged for mercy. "Then go and throw this vessel of fish into the pond and swear by me that you won't be lazy anymore, and that you will work hard, and that you will never steal again," said the wife. "Oh, I promise. Oh, goddess, I promise," said the man. He threw the vessel of fish in the pond and vowed never to steal again. From that day on, he was a changed man and not lazy anymore. Thus the clever wife had taught her husband a valuable lesson. So there is a moral. Never be lazy and never ever steal.